And we're back. I told you guys I was going to do this tonight. I don't know why I feel so compelled to. Maybe it's because the Clippers lost a 19-point lead in Minnesota to a team that has beaten them 8 out of 9 times, and it's getting old. Now, the Clippers are missing their superstar late in the ball game. Kawhi Leonard's on a minutes restriction, and Minnesota has theirs, and Anthony Edwards, who had 27 of his 37 points in the second half and had 13 in the fourth quarter. And I'm trying to see the timing of all those buckets in the fourth because there were obviously some big ones. All 13 points came in the last 7 minutes because he came back into the game for Mike Conley at the 6:55 mark, where they were up by 4, led by 1 heading into the fourth. Clippers had a 7-point lead at the half, but they led by as many as 19. That Anthony Edwards and 1 at the 3:56 mark, and it was not a lot of contact there by Ivica Zubac. That might have been the biggest bucket of the game because the Clippers were up 5 with 4 minutes left and had regained control. Zoo hit some free throws. Derek Jones hit some free throws. Kevin Porter Jr. made, I think, a floater. That gave him the lead by 1. And a lot of people in here are talking about KPJ. He's become a polarizing player on this Clippers team. You know, we're not talking about the off the court stuff. We're just talking about his play on the court. A lot of people want more T-Man. Man looked good. He's looked good the last couple of games in his return. T-Man knocked down a three-pointer. I liked his energy. You know, the box score isn't massive. He had 3 points, an assist, a steal in his 10 minutes. I think Amir Coffey is the guy that if you want to make an argument, him or Chris Dunn being on the court late instead of KPJ, I could see that because I'm trying to figure out who the Clippers closed with. KPJ played the entire fourth quarter. Is that accurate? Let me check the box score here. We're going to hear from Coach Lou, by the way, coming up. Post-game audio for you. Law Murray was there. He's asking the questions. So Kevin Porter Jr., heading into the fourth, was at 7 minutes. He finished the game playing, 19. So he played the entire fourth quarter. That is a little bit surprising. I'm not putting it all on him like a lot of people are, but I have done the searches. I have looked at X and I've seen the conversation going on. Deca Fantastic said KPJ is too much juice and not enough polish, too much dip on the chip, too much style over substance with his game, not enough winning plays, not enough high IQ plays. Goofy said KPJ was frustrating in this one because he did decent at some points, but right where it mattered most, he fumbled. He did have a really nice pass late to Ivica Zubac, who lost the basketball. Looked like he was being held, his left arm, by Anthony Edwards. People have been bringing that up. I think it's just it's riding and dying with KPJ in a fourth quarter of a game like this in Minnesota, and you got to take the highs with the lows. I don't love that. I don't. Like, Rock's talking about the Nico small ball being terrible, but I'm pretty sure that's how they ended up getting back into it in the third quarter. He wants to deflect from anything talking about KPJ because he's his protector. He is his shield. Rock, it's getting old, man. Let us have a conversation. Like you're willing to talk about anybody else but Kevin Porter Jr. Well, no, he plays the entire fourth quarter we're probably going to end up talking about him. I think I'm being fair. It was up and down. There were good plays, there were bad plays. I think focusing in on just the bad plays is unfair. I think you not focusing on the bad plays is also unfair. But again, when Ivica Zubats came out, because they didn't play Mo Bamba at all in this game, and Ivica Zubats came out of the game around the 6-minute mark, I want to say, of the third quarter. I want to see if I can find this because it's been frustrating with the game log. It looks to be inaccurate tonight. It could be me. It often is me. I don't think it's me this time. It's not me, it's you. At the 3:54 mark, Nico Batum enters the game for Big Zoo. So they went +1 because it was 70-68 at that point. Norman Powell had made a bucket before that. James Harden made a big three, back-to-back threes. That was after the Clippers missed 5 straight three-pointers. Then James Harden was trying to make me look foolish for saying that's not good process and knocked down 2 threes right after that. But then he missed 2 threes. I did not understand why the Clippers were living and dying with the three so much in that third quarter. That's where I'm coming from. It always is short stints with Nico at the 5. Nico typically always wins his minutes out there. He played 13 minutes tonight. Ivica Zubats played 35. There you go. He played 35 of the 48 minutes. There's 13 minutes missing. Nico played those 13. He ended up going -4. So they did lose the small ball by 4. They've also won it recently. Numerous times I have talked about that post game. Goofy said the blame isn't solely on KPJ, but the Clips really needed to be better at scoring. Like Dunn needs to score at least more shots. Even James and Norm missed important shots they normally make. They did. The Clippers also put up 30 points in the fourth quarter. It's the third. It's going to Zubats twice for easy buckets and then completely forgetting about him and just launching threes. And I am a proponent of the modern game. But I think it's bad process when Ivica Zubats looks that good against Rudy Gobert that he has him flustered to the point where he tries to hit him with the elbow, and that could have been a flagrant because he blocked him twice. Maybe reward that guy. That's my thinking. Is that fair? Man, I got Daniel West in here. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Logical.
Like, come on. All I'm asking is to reward your big man who's doing everything defensively, has had some huge blocks in this game, leading to transition points for the Clippers. And the Clippers refuse to do it consistently. I just don't get it. I mean, I've just seen Nico work at the 5 too many times. In fact, on the season, they're probably a plus when he plays the 5. To say it's not working at all beyond very short stints, it's like, well, they typically are short stints. So I don't think they lost the game because of that. I think they lost the game because they're up 19. What happened in the second quarter with them just, again, some of this was just Norm Powell was really cold. Some of this is the starters. They got Kawhi Leonard back. But I'm not going to, somebody said earlier, like, Kawhi's got to take shots within the flow of the offense. It's like, guys, they're almost a bottom 5 offense on the season. To act like he can wreck the offense by Kawhi Leonard taking shots, even if it's just ISO out of the flow of the offense, nah. I'm okay with him trying to get his. I do kind of see what Rock is saying here. Kawhi in that third, it was like he was waiting to come out. Because there was a moment where I thought, oh, are they pushing it to 25 minutes? Because there was a timeout right around, I want to say, the 9-minute mark of the third quarter. And he came back out there. And I thought, okay, is something changing? The 9:13 mark of the third. Julius Randle has a dunk. It's 57 all after the Clippers started to go away from Ivica Zubac, and they had just led 55-46. After that, Kawhi stayed on the floor. I thought that might have meant he was going to 25 minutes. And he did heave a couple of threes. Granted, he's been hitting, small sample size, obligatory, since he came back. And then he missed that 2-footer that was a layup, tried to go reverse with it. He didn't have the lift. That was noticeable and a little bit concerning to me, but also totally expected at the same time. And then he came out of the game. 7:15 mark of the third, Amir Coffey came in. Amir had some of the craziest rebounds that I have seen, guys, in traffic. Crazy offensive rebounds by Amir Coffey. His effort was spectacular tonight. That's why I was thinking, should Amir be the one closing? The numbers weren't crazy. He had 9 points, hit a three-pointer, but had a huge throwdown dunk and 4 offensive rebounds. He was battling against multiple guys and just would not be denied. I think back in Minnesota, wanted to show up for the game. I guess he had a 40-foot game winner in college there or in high school. I forget how Carlo put it earlier, but some people are saying the KPJ frustration this game is just an accumulation from all his previous games. But every game has its own story. I'm not saying that you just discard the previous evidence, the body of work, and say this is a new independent trial in this game from KPJ. I don't think that's fair. I also think people are probably blowing things out of proportion slightly because of his just consistently inconsistent play. And him closing that game when Amir Coffey looked that good, and they didn't have Chris Dunn in at the very end of that game for defensive purposes, right? Can somebody give me the closing lineup for the Clippers? I know Big Zoo was out there. I know KPJ was out there. I know James Harden was out there. I know Norman Powell was out there. Who the bleep was that fifth guy? It's Derek Jones. Okay, it was Derek Jones. Of course, I'm fine with DJ being out there. His defense was really good. We'll hear from Coach Lou on some of those three-pointers coming up that Minnesota was able to make that were contested. But if there's one guy, one of these things is not like the other, that was in that closing lineup that you would have said, okay, this is a little bit of a head scratcher, it was KPJ, who played the entire fourth quarter. I do think he had some really nice passes in this game. He had some nice shot creation passes in the game. But he started the game losing the basketball, just trying to lose his man. And that's what I mean. It's so one end of the spectrum to the other. He has a beautiful pass to Ivica Zubac, who probably should have held on to it late, even though he was being held on the left arm by Anthony Edwards. To be fair, Zoo's got to hold on to that one. He ended up with, 7 assists again to 2 turnovers? The turnovers are just so loud. That first one he had, where he's just like falling over trying to dance with a basketball in the first half. Then the one he has late, after the Clippers just had a steal, they gave it right back. I don't know what KPJ was looking at there. Timothy's saying all the good he did in the fourth quarter won't cover. All the good he did won't cover what he did in the fourth, but he did some of his good in the fourth. That's my problem with it. Now, he was out there also at the beginning where he had, a bad turnover, I think, to start the fourth quarter when the Clippers just couldn't score. Norman Powell missed the first couple of shots. Derek Jones missed a shot. Naz Reid blocked Amir Coffey. Reid had a couple of just really key plays. And they didn't have a field goal. They started 0 for 11 in the fourth. And I want to say they started 3 of 9 or 2 of 9 in the third. Those two were Ivica Zubats. Yeah, of course. They didn't have a ton of juice out there. KPJ missed a tough step back at the 9:37 mark, to say the least. It was well contested. He takes really tough shots. Once in a while, he makes them. The mistakes are louder than the successful plays that seem to be quieter. You can look at the film, Adam. The shot he took at the top of the key. Which one? The three-pointer that was blocked by Na? That was a nice rear view contest. It also was a bad shot by Kevin Porter Jr. I just say it, he made a big three too. They're down 9 at 89-80, and he hit a really big three off an incredible wraparound pass from Derek Jones Jr. As much as DJ is struggling with the three ball, he came into this game 2 for his last 22. He ended up 1 of 2. So he's now 3 for his last 24 from 3. It's under 10%. He was a plus 13 off the bench. I thought DJ should have closed the game. Could you have closed with Chris Dunn or Mann or Amir instead of KPJ? That's the question. And I think it's a fair one because he played the entire fourth quarter. I'm not saying he didn't have really bad, loud, momentum swing plays. Which Ant 3, though, because his defense on an Ant 3 was pretty perfect. The second one Ant hit in the last 2 minutes after DJ played defense upon the first time. I can't fault Kevin Porter Jr. for his defense on that Ant 3. That was just, what are you going to do? Ant had 1, 2, 3. Guys, he had 4 3-pointers. Is that right? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4 3-pointers from Anthony Edwards in the last 2 minutes and 44 seconds. My God. Is that right? No, in the last 3:05. One of them says makes 24-foot running pull-up jump shot. I can't trust the game log. The point is he made so many, and a lot of them were well contested. I love DJ's defense on them. Ant's that good. Tough shot maker. Good defense, better offense. The turnover from KPJ that became the Ant 3. But wasn't that well contested by DJ still? There's so many of them. I get it. You're talking about the one at the 3:05 mark to make it 97-96. Clippers are up by 2. And they had just taken the ball away from Rudy Gobert. Kevin Porter Jr. comes the other way, kind of starts to leave his feet, got antsy with it, and had a really bad turnover. And took it away, hit a 3. Let me see if I can find the play. Sure, somebody's got it up here because highlights abound from Anthony Edwards, who is a superstar, one of the best players in the game. Some of this is just they had their guy late. The Clippers didn't have theirs with Kawhi. That happens. I told you coming into this game yesterday, do not be upset or frustrated if Kawhi, I mean, you can be, you can do whatever you want, but I'm just saying, don't be surprised. If it's a close game, they're not just going to put Kawhi Leonard back in. Once he hits his minutes restriction, that's it. It's over. Just because it's close doesn't mean they're going to break through it like the Kool-Aid man. I do think there's something to this. Access Entertainment Production says, I think it was a mistake to keep KPJ in the game that long in the fourth quarter. This is on the coach. The turnovers were inexcusable, and giving up a 19-point lead was infuriating. Okay, but the 19-point lead, that's not all on KPJ. The first part saying it's a mistake to keep him in that long in the fourth quarter. I think there's something to this. You got to know when to hold him and when to fold him with KPJ, just like with Russ. Russ could self-destruct at the end of games. He plays chaotic, erratic basketball, and it can work for you. It's working right now with him and Nikola Jokic, and the Clippers will see Russ on Wednesday again. What, the fourth time this season already? They're 2-1 against Denver. That's a huge game standings-wise because they could win the season series against them. Anyways, it has started to click in with them. Now, Jokic can, play off of anyone and help anyone. He's just that incredible. But Russ would get loose with the basketball at the wrong times. That's why he typically would struggle in the playoffs because the game slows down. That's not where he's best. He's at his best in chaos. He went 8 for 42 his last 5 games with the Clippers against Dallas last year. But I think there's a time to go, okay, we got some good out of KPJ in this fourth quarter. Let's not extend this out because there's going to be a law of diminishing returns going on where eventually that good turns to bad because of his inconsistent play. I think there's something to that. His pass that beats Zubats late, that was a turnover. That's not on KPJ. That's on Big Zoo. Or did he just get a wild shot up? That was a great feed, actually. Maybe Zoo didn't expect it, but it was a great pass. And Anthony Edwards looked to be holding his left arm. Yeah, it's definitely not all on KPJ, but it's worth having a conversation about KPJ and whether or not you want him late in ball games. That's where I'm trying to put the focus on. I do not want to act like KPJ lost them this game because he didn't. I'd tell you if he did. I think that is overly simplistic. There's a lot of people that are having overreaching frustration statements about Kevin Porter Jr. right now because it's a buildup of things, and his brand of basketball can be frustrating because it can look really good. It can go from one end of the spectrum to the other, just like that, one possession to the next. And tonight, it was underscored by that late in the game. Access said, I agree. KPJ is not the reason the Clippers lost. It was lack of discipline. Yeah, I think it was game plan mistakes where they just weren't adhering to their game plan well enough. Or Ivica Zubac has a couple buckets early in the third quarter. Maybe feed him. Maybe not settle for all these three-pointers right now. It seemed like the Clippers got a little bit lackadaisical when they got up by 19. They didn't have enough killer instinct to put the game away. Credit Minnesota to some degree, but this is on the Clippers. Credit Anthony Edwards, but this is still on the Clippers. You're up 19 with 6 minutes left in the second quarter. Not the first quarter, not early second quarter. Midway through the second quarter, you're up 19. You have to lead at the half. It doesn't have to be by 19, but it has to be by double digits. It can't be a 7-point game. They left some meat on the bone, and they threw some red meat to the Timberwolves, who very quickly got up in that third quarter. I mean, acting like, okay, see, here's the other side. KPJ almost saved the game at the very end. It's like, my God, that would have been on Minnesota if they somehow blew that. Like, just like his play is one end of the spectrum to the other, it feels like people can see what they want to see at times with him. If you like him, you overreact to the negative plays. If if you dislike him, you overreact to the negative plays. If you like him, you are looking for any positive plays and are acting like he almost saved the game at the end. Please, yawning tears. That's Minnesota was trying to give that away, and it gave the Clippers a little bit of an opportunity. Like, they shouldn't even been able to be in that position where he can miss that free throw and they could get the tip in. Rock said, I wouldn't have played him the full quarter. I agree. Wouldn't play many guys that long. You always have to take it that next step. Like, this isn't about KPJ. I wouldn't play many guys that long. KPJ gave you some good stuff midway through the quarter. At some point, when are you willing to go away from him and say, okay, there's a turnover or a bad play or a bad shot attempt coming around the corner? Because that's what we've seen from him. I am looking at it overall. I am actually telling you the individual plays that were good from him in the fourth and the ones that were bad. I'm not cherry picking S. Yawning. I'm yawning at that comment. I've gone through the game log. I've given him his due. I've also understood where the criticism is coming from. I have literally said, this game is not on KPJ. We're having a conversation about closing lineups and his overall erratic play that is similar to Russell Westbrook's, but I told you guys that a month ago. I was getting strong Russell Westbrook vibes from him. He doesn't play as fast. Russ doesn't, get into his bag like that and go for step backs as much. Russ would typically just go too fast going to the basket and smoke a layup, or be so overly competitive almost to a fault where you get into individual battles and hurt you by taking ill-advised shots. KPJ, it's just a roller coaster. It's just a roller coaster. And I don't want to be on the roller coaster late in games. I want more ball security. I want them to take a concerted effort to take care of the basketball. Make that effort. That's where I'm a little bit frustrated, because you can see those KPJ plays coming at some point. They are going to happen based upon everything I've seen so far this season, 35 games prior to game 36 tonight. But I think Coach Lou, that might be one of his guys that he's rolling with, because he sees KPJ as somebody on ball, and he has an affinity for guards, and they think they need another one to take some of the burden off of James Harden. I would say you could have Chris Dunn out there to bring the ball up. Now, he's had issues with that sometimes. That's not perfect, but his defense is so good. I would have gone with him late. The pass from KPJ to Ivica Zubac was a good pass. Definitively a good pass, Timothy. I've watched it multiple times. Rock, stop caping. Like, just stop. We know KPJ is your man. It's just annoying. We should be able to talk about him. I'm not talking like nobody else is making mistakes. I am saying that Ivica Zubac should have held on to that basketball, and that wasn't on KPJ. That was not a bad pass. Relax, my guy. It's okay. He hasn't established himself, in my mind, to be someone that should probably get an entire fourth quarter to play in a critical game like this. Dunn's shooting is down. his defense more than makes up for it. Guys, his defense more than makes up for it. And if you need another ball handler, which is the reason he's still in the starting lineup, there you go. So I have seen the last couple of games, KPJ has made some strides. Does that mean he should play the entire fourth quarter? I don't think he was that critical. I don't think he was doing that good or that he was that necessary to keep him in there for 12 straight minutes. I don't. People are saying I don't miss Russ smoking 4 layups a game. Look, Russ, all-time great, but his game could frustrate me at times too. Mike's hating, though. KPJ is a perfect player for the Wizards. Timothy said, to be honest, I feel we are babysitting Harden a little too much. Dunn is starting when Derrick Jones Jr. should start. Should he? Clippers got off to a really good start in this game. They led 27-16. Chris Dunn was playing some really good defense on Ant to start. It was the end of the second quarter minutes where things went awry for the Clippers. Don is saying Dunn's defense does not make up for his shooting this bad. LOL. There are limitations. Did he make a shot? Yeah, he made at least one floater off a pass from Kawhi. 0-4 from 3 in 21 minutes. I'm saying as a whole, it's not going to be perfect every game. No player is going to win their minutes every time. But Chris Dunn by far leads them in the plus minus this season because of how damn good his defense is and how he helps set the tone out there defensively. The Clippers were up 19 partially because of Chris Dunn. I could not believe some of the possessions he was having defensively early on against Anthony Edwards. So to me, I'm going to roll with that guy against Ant late to have him and DJ out there late so they can both handle Ant, who's going off and hitting 4 threes in a couple of minutes. Yanni Tears said, why are people bringing up criticisms on KPJ before talking about others who are more deserving of criticism in this game? I can easily point you in the right direction there, Yanni Tears, because those others don't consistently have the same criticism over and over again. The KPJ roller coaster up and down thing, the consistently inconsistent play is something that has been a theme all season long. Guys, say goodbye. Say goodnight to the bad guy. No, say, is he on here? Say goodbye to Daniel West. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, same.
See you on Wednesday.
All right.
The difference is those other guys that you might want to criticize are either proven rotation players that are necessary and are much more consistent players. And KPJ, to me, has not proven enough as a Clipper yet to be solidified and playing an entire fourth quarter. Ray said, oh, hi, guys. Dunn and DJ both shooting miserable from 3, but I don't think that's what went wrong in the second and third. There were a lot of defensive miscues, and we lit a lot of open threes. There were some open threes, but those ones late, pretty well defended, right? Anthony Edwards, like I'm watching the three-pointer over KPJ. That was really good defense to put him up 106-101 with 34 seconds left. I'm not blaming Kevin Porter Jr. for that at all. He was fine there. I'm just saying I feel better about Anthony Edwards having to go up against Chris Dunn and DJ exclusively in the fourth quarter. The step back he had at the 112 mark over DJ is also just I'm watching. You can't do much better than that. I wish I could see the other 2 he hit in the last 3 minutes. Maybe I don't wanna see that. Maybe I wanna hear from Coach Lou. I'm gonna have to reposition myself here, guys, so bear with me. I'm just gonna move my laptop over there, and we're gonna listen to Coach Lou postgame audio. And we're back on. Clippers talk after dark. I'm Adam Osland. See, there's too much of I'm team KPJ or I'm team anti KPJ going on, I feel like. That's what I mean when I say he's polarizing. There is room for the gray area, for the nuance, for him having good plays and bad plays. I just think, yeah, again, Gianni Tears doesn't get it. Like some people just can't put the pieces together. James Harden is a necessary piece in the system. They can't go without James Harden. So bringing up like, well, he has almost like 5 turnovers a game. Why don't we talk about him? Yes, there's criticism to go on James Harden. He should cut down the turnovers. Also, they have to live with that. The difference is, do they have to live with KPJ or not? That's what we're talking about here. I don't know. The Alliance Tears has just been brutal lately. I gotta say. After he couldn't tell the difference between me talking and Law Murray on a phone line, I'm a little frustrated here, Yanni. I love you, but I'm a little frustrated here. We're gonna hear from Coach Lou in a second, but you gotta understand, like there are certain players that you're gonna live and die with. Are we doing that with KPJ? Has he really proven that as a Clipper to play the entire fourth quarter? I didn't think so. I don't think so. Access said I thought it should have been Chris Dunn down the stretch. I was so baffled by his absence. I was wondering if he was injured. Then when Ty Lue finally put him in the game, he put him in at what point? Because he went out at the very end with that. I don't know if it was a back injury. I hope he's okay. But he did get put in. What point was that? 24 seconds left. And then he got hurt for Ivica Zubats. They're down 106 to 101. Yeah, I didn't love that. He got hurt going for a rebound. I think there's a much better argument of having Chris Dunn close out this game than KPJ. Right? Is that not fair? KPJ has been dramatically inconsistent, wildly inconsistent. He already had been in the quarter. Chris Dunn has been one of the most impactful players on the season. He was wrecking Ant to start off the game. Ant's going off now. Are there not enough reasons to play Chris Dunn over KPJ? Am I missing something? Oh, KPJ can bring the ball up more. He can also have a really bad turnover. Chris Dunn could have that too, but he has all that other stuff. KPJ can create for himself more. Okay. He could also take some really bad shots. Like, I'm seeing Chris Dunn as having more on the plus side than KPJ in that situation, if I'm being honest. And that's not even so much about KPJ. It's about Chris Dunn with how good he's been. Jose in Southgate said, Dad called me to talk to me about the game and how it was close. LOL, man, I was half asleep, already forgetting about it, shaking my head. And now I'm up. No answers from Ty in the post game about rotations. Well, we're going to listen to it anyways here in a second. How dare you jump the audio like this? Ray said Ant-Man went nuclear in the fourth, no doubt. But it was a ton of scoring compressed within like 2 minutes. I think he had 12 points or 10 points in 2 minutes. I don't trust this game log tonight from ESPN. That's been a theme for me. We're talking under the 3-minute mark. He hits a 3 at 3:05. Okay, they're up by 1. He hits a 3. Okay, I think they did put in an extra 3 here. He hits a 3 at the 112 mark. He hits a 3 at the 34-second mark. They have corrected the game log. Thank you. So it was 3 threes from the 3:05 mark to the 34-second mark. So about 2.5 minutes, he hits 3 threes. And Jay McDaniels hit one too. And that was well contested. That's not on KPJ. Rock just wants to deflect everything. How do we get back to this topic? Timothy said, I think Clippers need to find a way to play Batum and Zoo more minutes together. They have a 108 offensive rating, a 93 defensive rating. The defensive rating is really good. The offensive rating is not. But, overall, that's a plus in 271 minutes. I agree. At some point, Nico Batum in high leverage games and situations in the playoffs could be your starting power forward if you want to move Kawhi to the 3 or just have more size out there. I've been saying that since the beginning of the season. Everybody talks about getting that power forward. It's like, guys, they got Nico, and that's a possibility in a playoff series. Mike saying Coffey's been really good lately. Yeah, I could not believe some of the effort plays he made for rebounds. Ray said that Coffee dunk was epic. Over 2. More people coming in now. Appreciate you guys. Batum shouldn't play at 5. I need to get down to the numbers on that more because I feel like it has been successful overall. And the question is it better than playing Mo Bamba? Not he shouldn't play the 5. Like, what's your solution then? They're not playing Zubats 48 minutes. Is it better than Mo Bamba? Lately, I think it is. They may both be losing minutes, but who's losing them more drastically? Who's getting hit harder in those lineups? In that lineup data. X-Mongo says KPJ still getting suspended. I'm guessing not at this point. I was wondering that for a while. Rock said it's still plenty of options to be had with a expiring. Oh, with PJ Tucker's contract. Yeah, I agree. That expiring $11 million is not nothing for a team that wants to, get under the first or second apron next summer or stay under it. Rock said it's so many other issues on this team. We keep going back to KPJ. It's hilarious. Dude, I'm about to ignore Rock. Like, I can't take it because I want to have a conversation about KPJ. He played the entire fourth quarter. It was mixed. It's not he was so great or he was so bad. It was in between. The question is, did they have a better way to optimize the lineup late? Is Coach Lou all in with KPJ is another question. Is he getting better or is it more of the same? And the experiment continues and we're getting more evidence of who he is as a player. So I'm just going to ignore Rock for now because he is a confirmed KPJ stan. I'm sorry, Rock, but you just all you want to do is go somewhere else with the conversation. And I think it's a conversation worth having. Not because he's been awful, not because he's been great, because we're 36 games in and we still don't know if you can trust him late in the ball game, but Coach Lou did. So is that a sign of things to come? I think that's a developing story. Him playing the entire fourth quarter. I think that's newsworthy. I'm not trying to just prey upon the negative here. I'm trying to see where we're going with rotations. Don said, I pray we try manhandling the ball again. Ray said, I wouldn't think a suspension is coming at this point. We're more than a quarter into the season. Timothy said the roster is full of guards. I mean, some of these guards though can guard up, and like Terrence and Chris Dunn, they play against bigger guys. Like, come on. I'm not saying it's not a problem at all. Compliments only said Terrence got less minutes than KPJ in clutch time. Does that tell you anything? Not really, because Terrence just came back and he only played 10 minutes in this game. I felt like he was good though. He hit a 3 early. I don't know if he had many standout plays. And I got to be honest, I can't point to anything else specifically. It just was an overall feel thing where I feel like, Terrence Mann is looking like himself. Ray said Dunn was battling against Gobert for rebounds. He was going crazy with the box outs. Yeah, he fouled Gobert on one of them. It was a bad foul, but Dunn's effort, guys. Watch Chris Dunn. Watch the replay of this in the first quarter, and just watch Chris Dunn. Put the spotlight on him. Doesn't mean he's going to have the ball. Doesn't mean his defender's going to have the ball. Just watch him the entire first quarter. It's insane how hard he goes. X-Mongo Project said, my fear is that what if KPJ gets it going and is already playing great, then gets disrupted by a suspension? Yeah, well, I pray that he can get it going. That'd be great if he could get it going. Don said they're going to trade Mann, huh? I mean, he's an asset. I don't know. I'm ignoring Rock for now. Sometimes you got to take out the cattle prod and just be like, okay, I need this from you in the chat. Like, you're doing too much of this. Let's come over here. Let's come over here now. I'm sorry, Rock, but your broken record, at least. I mean, keep doing your thing in the chat. I'm just not going to acknowledge for a while because it's the same thing over and over again. Timothy said they need to trade some of these guards, get a backup center, but Toomey needs to play the 4. X-Mongo Project said Dunn can ignite a fast break through defense. Yes. Gamer Dude said, Adam, what are the miscues? I've been talking about them. Don said Dunn can't rebound better than KPJ in his defense. Huh? In his defense? Maybe. The Orienteer said KPJ, besides Bones, is the only real ball handler. Harden can't blow by people like he used to, so everyone pressures him like crazy. Even DiVincenzo gave him fits. He can. But what's the end of that process with KPJ? I was listening to Robert Flom earlier. He made a great point. It's like, okay, he can create shots for himself that other guys can't do. But what's the end result of those shots? If he's missing those tough jumpers, is it just because he can get them up or just because he can get by a guy? If it doesn't always result in a good play, you still might want to go in a different direction. I'm not saying there isn't value to what he does or there isn't a vision to why they have KPJ. I get it completely. I have been talking about this a ton, Yawning Tears. You're talking to someone else that thought he could end up being the starting 2 guard if he trended in the right direction consistently because of what he could do for them. The talent is obvious. The consistency or the inconsistency is also obvious. Actually, Thomas was a 19-point lead. Ryan said, I would like it if they tried Batum as a starting 4 with Kawhi. Still need a backup 5. X-Mongo Project brings up a good point. Like, this is a great point, actually. Guys, they can go small. When Kawhi gets back to playing regular minutes, you could have him, Batum, and DJ out there next to Norm and James Harden. Like, they can do some things. Do not give up on small ball or say, oh, Batum can't play the 5. Like, it matters how you insulate and how you surround those lineups. With him and Kawhi out there as your 4 and 5, they're going to do that at times, and it's going to be effective. If it was that easy to get a playable center, it would have happened by now. So far in 2 games, it's not working. Again, I'm going to point out some nuance for you, Rock, because you didn't pick up on it the first time. So Maybe you lose your minutes with Batum at the 5, and they went -5 tonight in this one. I'm not even going to put much into the Atlanta game because that was such a blowout. I don't think that's consequential. The difference is you might have lost those minutes by 10 with Mo Bamba. So, yes, you're still losing them, but you're not losing them as rapidly and as severely as with this player, in this case, Mo Bamba. So, therefore, Batum at the 5 may, yes, be working to some degree better than your alternative option. Hope I helped. JJ the boy said, just finished watching the game after work, and man, what a frustrating loss. I get it. Timothy's laughing about something. Compliments only said, one shot in 10 minutes. If you're not going to use him, especially in crunch time like he wants, just trade him for Bruce Brown or Kelly Olynyk. Talking about Terrence Mann there. Jonathan said, KPJ didn't catch my eye for anything noticeably bad until the fourth. He had only one complete game all year, and that was versus Atlanta. Consistency with his IQ is as big as issue. Jonathan Ing is exactly right. And the reason you didn't catch much is because he only played 6 minutes in the game, almost 7 minutes before the fourth quarter where he played all 12. Yes, I am at AM 570 LA Sports. Chunk said, Adam, you've got to ignore Rock. This is going to take years off your life. Compliment said, yeah, KPJ is in competition with Terrence. I don't know. The way Coach Lou is using him, it seems like he might be favoring him over Terrence in some situations at least. Ryan said, don't think KPJ was the problem in the fourth, but Coffee might have worked out better for the offense. We're done for the defense. JJ the boys said, why was KPJ in the whole damn fourth? Made no sense, and man only playing 9 minutes as well is concerning. I don't know what Ty was questionable tonight. People question Ty Lue for the fourth quarter. I think it's fair. You play a guy for the entire fourth quarter that is wildly inconsistent. I think it is fair to say KPJ is wildly inconsistent. It's not all good. It's not all bad. It just swings. Compliments only said, I mean, terms of Ty Lue looking who to play in the fourth, in terms of that. Jonathan Ing said again, KPJ wasn't the reason we lost the game. I agree, but he wasn't helpful either, especially in the fourth with a poor shot selection. Timothy is saying, we do know KPJ is not a player you close with. I don't think he projects to be that type of player right now. I do not want the most wildly inconsistent player during crunch time minutes. And he has been pulled before in the past for low IQ basketball plays in the fourth quarter. We have seen Coach Lue immediately pull him after a bad play before. That has happened recently in the last couple of weeks. Jay said, well, welcome to the party. Exactly what everyone else has been saying the past 2 hours, except Rock. He was saying that to... That was at Double J from Jay. Chunk said, Adam beat the Russ stands just to substitute it for KPJ stands. That's kind of funny. There's less of them, at least. And I don't care about you being a fan of a guy. You can stand if you want to. I just don't want to have to hear it over and over again. And it blinds you to a guy's flaws or a guy's... on one end, it can blind you to a guy's flaw. That's basically what happens with stands. They double down and triple down and defend anything. And it takes away your critical eye. And I don't like that. Ryan said Dunn is a dog. Jonathan Ing said Dunn and Coffee were awesome with their effort and hustle tonight. Yeah, I would have gone with one of them over KPJ late. Compliments only said KPJ was rebounding too. You can't take that away from him either now. No, I just don't know if that justified him playing the entire fourth quarter. Okay. He had, 6 boards. David said KPJ is just burning us innings until our roster is set with a fully healthy Kawhi and T-Man. You may be right. If you have a healthy Kawhi, there's your easy solution. He's playing those minutes instead of KPJ. We're not having to talk about, is it Amir? Is it Chris? It's Kawhi. It's Kawhi. So is he a placeholder as just having another ball handler out there? I just think he was holding that place for 12 straight minutes in the fourth. A little much. Timothy said this is the first time KPJ closed a game this season. No, I don't think that's true at all. Bro, it's January and he is still shooting 24% from three. Oh, he did start off that bad. Jonathan Ing said, I was annoyed with Harden tonight, getting DiVincenzo switched on him. DiVincenzo isn't a bad defender. While I get switching McDaniels off, not sure the matchup hunting was good. McDaniels is better. In theory, get the smaller guy on him, and Harden can usually put that guy on his back or just, kind of be clever with it and uses, pushes off with his off arm and kind of keeps the defender at his backside. Ryan said, past 2 games, KPJ has been driving and dishing, kicking. He needs to keep doing that. He has been doing it more. Don said, Harden shot too much tonight. Compliments only said, Rock, he did say this loss may happen. I don't know what he's referring to. I'm not acknowledging Rock at the moment. I've done too much of it. He's not the chat co-host. Ex-Mongo Project said, I don't actually mind KPJ shooting, but it's hopefully within the flow of the offense. Here's the problem. It rarely is. KPJ is not catch and shooting much at all. And some of that is by design because he's out there with lineups where he's supposed to take tough shots. And he's supposed to be that guy that can create a little bit. But now, with Kawhi even playing some minutes, with Terrence Mann being back, with more options out there, I don't think he has to force it as much. And he still took some bad shots in the fourth quarter that were ill-advised. Yeah. X-Mongo said, not hunt his shot from the get-go without anyone else touching the ball, especially if Norm or Harden is out there. That's the thing. I felt like he was playing with one or the other in all his minutes because Norm was out there to start the fourth, and then James Harden came in. There's better options. Chunk said, Harden, Dunn, Mann, Norm, Kawhi, DJJ, Batum in the 15 minutes that Zoo is out, and you're more than fine. That's what I was kind of saying earlier. There are small ball lineups that work. Now, against some teams with certain, players, you're gonna have to play Bamba. I don't think they're totally out on Bamba. It's just gonna be more situational. Don said, Harden shooting twice as many threes as normal. Powell is unacceptable at this point. Let's see. Ryan said, it seems as if every season Clipper fans choose a player as a scapegoat when we lose. KPJ is the player this season. Or they're identifying someone struggling. It seems very obvious to a majority of the fan base. And they're maybe beating a dead horse and maybe overdoing the criticism and hammering it, but maybe there's something to it. For instance, it took far too long for Marcus Morris to finally get pulled out of the lineup. It did. Eventually they did it. So obviously the people that were crying for it to happen earlier were right then. Eventually they did it. They didn't bring back Russ. A lot of people were talking about how bad that was at times. They weren't necessarily wrong. I don't like the scapegoating. I don't want, again, this loss is not on KPJ. This conversation is about KPJ because he played the entire fourth. And I'm wondering where Coach Lue is going moving forward and if there were better options tonight, more logical options. Ray said I'm a Ballmer stan. Okay, that's fair. There is nothing wrong with being a Steve Ballmer stan. You know what? I got my stuff here. I am too. We stan Steve Ballmer for life. Renzo, the old head, said didn't get to watch the game since I took my son to Raw at Intuit Dome. Sucks seeing them lose a close game, especially to this team again. Chunk said, I'm telling myself they gave KPJ the entire fourth to see if they should trade for a secondary ball handler or not. I do not think, I know you're crossing your fingers. I do not think that was it. Renzo, how was the event? Raw at Intuit Dome. Just wondering, since it was the first time wrestling event there. Jonathan said, KPJ isn't a scapegoat. The criticism he gets is warranted. I praised him for his performance last game. Yeah. He had maybe his best game against Atlanta. Now, they were destroying them. I'm not trying to take it away. I'm just saying I want to see consistently good minutes in a close game, in a tough game like this, where KPJ really helps you flip it in your favor, turn the game, where he's so impactful. You knew you couldn't win that game without him, and it was against a good opponent. Because I can say that for a lot of other Clippers over the years. That's what I'm saying. Comparing him to, well, why are we talking about other guys who struggled tonight? Because we know who those guys are overall. We've been with them through the ups and downs. We know who they are. They are established Clippers and players in this league. James Harden, no, but he's having 5 turnovers per game. Well, yeah. And his usage rating is off the charts, and you have to live and die with him because you don't have better options. Do you have better options than KPJ? I think they did late in the fourth. Malley said KPJ should easily played more in the first half. He was bad in the first half. He had a ridiculous turnover right away, just dancing with the basketball and just lost it. Like, I don't know what was happening, especially when he was one of the best players during the second quarter when they had the biggest lead of the game. Oh, maybe you're right there. I didn't feel like that. Let's see. KPJ numbers at the half. He had in 6 minutes and 23 seconds. Okay. He did have 5 assists to 1 turnover. That's not nothing. I guess I thought he was bad at the very beginning of that stint, is how I should probably put it. Jay said in consecutive plays, man altered a missed shot, made a 3, and then got a steal all back to back to back. Not like he was bad. I don't get it. Hopefully we aren't getting used to not having him around. Shaking my head. Ray said LMAO, Norm Powell only shows up when we play Houston. He still got his 25 points tonight. Only shows up when we play Houston. What? Norm Powell has struggled against Houston. I don't get this. Norm Powell had 10 points in the fourth quarter tonight. Guys, he was really good in the fourth. Like, he was turning it around. That and one he had out of that timeout, that was big. So I was happy to see Norman Powell. So he had 15 points on 3 of 7 shooting, but it's because he kept getting fouled to the free throw line. He went 8 of 9. He did have some bad turnovers, but that was entering the fourth quarter. So he's 3 of 7 entering it. And that means he went 4 of 10 for his 10 points in the fourth, but big shots. Timothy said, I blame Ty Lue into this because he's been doing it every year. Bledsoe, Westbrook, Morris, now KPJ. Ty Lue does have a proclivity for guards. He has told us this before. I know you all love Wingstop, but, I was a guard. I have an affinity for guards. Manny said KPJ stands exist. Crazy times. Rock still can't figure out that Kawhi's back for his second game. Ray said Norman Powell. I still want clarification on what he was talking about there against Houston. Timothy said, no way this man is a Clippers fan. Timothy said, I didn't scapegoat him. I literally said Ty Lue shouldn't play such low IQ basketball players in the fourth quarter. Like, Coach Lue was pretty good with not playing Russell Westbrook late in games. He knew when to fold him, when to pull him. Okay, you got a nice run with Russ to start the fourth. Okay, not banking on this to continue because we know the likelihood is eventually it's going the other way and it can work against you. I think it needs to be the same way with KPJ. He hits that 3. He gets the floater. All right, I'm good. Chris Dunn, you're back in. Chunk said, I thought the refs were awful tonight. Not sure if we talked about that. I did talk about that a little bit. It's not why the Clippers lost the game, though. See, like some people will just box score hunt. Yanni Tier said KPJ is finding people 7 assists, 6 board, 3 of 5 field goals in 20 minutes is good. It's a reason to keep him in the fourth, the entire fourth quarter. You're going to play him. When it's a guy whose play is up and down, you just got a lot of up. So maybe it's time to play the odds and say, okay, I know who this player has been. The down is coming. And it did. I would have pulled him earlier. Normal. Didn't you hear the rumors of the Clippers getting Bradley Beal? He makes way too much money, and he's not better than Norman Powell. Rock said, I'm not even going to waste time on Himothy trolling. I don't think he was trolling. Ralph said, Chris Dunn is great, but not when they actually need to score the ball. Well, they were up 5 with 4 minutes left. They needed to get stops. And Ant ended up hitting 3 threes in the last 3 minutes, or in a 2.5 minute span. All right, let's hear from Coach Lou post game. I ain't got much more time for y'all. Oh, I don't need to hear a commercial here. Am I not signed in? No, I'm not. Oh, verify it's me. It's me. All right? It's me, AI Adam.
I'm so lonely. Please help me. I'm so lonely. Please help me.
Make me verify that. Don said, I hate the low IQ takes. KPJ threw a great pass to Zoo into the basket that would have tied the game. Harden shot us out of the game, though, with that big brain of his. So this guy just hates Harden. Like, y'all can't be fair. Like, low IQ takes. I'm pointing out that that was a good pass to Zoo. He also had a really bad turnover, a really bad shot. It's up and down. This game was not on KPJ. The reason we're talking about KPJ is because he played the entire fourth. What does that mean going forward? Here was Coach Lou post game.
T, I guess we got to start with just the close of the game. You guys came out that ATO and got Norm and then won. Y'all had the lead.
Here's what I don't like. It's like, it was one turnover. It's like, okay. KPJ has some really head scratching plays. They're not the same type of turnovers. The timing of it, the type of turnover it was where he's leaving his feet. I mean, that's basketball cardinal sin 101. You don't make those type of turnovers. And other guys, if they make them, well, they have this body of work and this built up equity with you. He doesn't have that. He hasn't proven much. He's average 19 on a really bad Houston Rockets team. It's not the same thing. I want KPJ to succeed too. But was anybody surprised by that turnover?
What did you feel kind of broke down on the plays where Ant got his three? And I think
This is what I can't take. I'm putting Rock in timeout. Every miss and turnover is costly. Harden and Zoo had mistakes after you are overdoing it. Again, you have to play Harden and Zoo. They are your main guys. They are your staples. You're not going away from them. You are living and dying with them. Do you need to live and die with KPJ is the question. That's what we're talking about here. There is a huge chasm between those players and KPJ. They are established. He is not. You know body of work with them, who they are as players. We do not know with KPJ. So to put your full confidence in him late in the game for 12 minutes, it's not the same thing. Take a timeout. I'm done explaining this over and over again. I'm sorry. They're not on the same playing field. Harden has bad moments. There's nothing you can do about it. You are going to ride with him. There is something you could do about KPJ. You could go to Chris Dunn. You could go to Amir. Come on. Comparing those things are not the same. Some guys, they've earned it. You can deal with it because you're not winning without them. KPJ is not that necessary that you're saying we're not winning without him. That's nuts. He has not established himself as that yet. Maybe he gets there. But come on, what are we doing? Comparing him to Harden and Zoo is asinine. I'm sorry. It's not the same. His mistakes are pointed out more than others because he's not necessary to have on the court, maybe. There are other guys you could go with. There aren't better options than James Harden. There aren't better options than Ivica Zubac. It's not the same. I don't know how else to explain it, man. I want KPJ to succeed. I literally said in the preseason, I think he could end up the starting 2 guard at some point. But it's been up and down, up and down, up and down. That's not the type of player I want closing a game when I have better options. It wasn't his fault. They didn't lose the game because of him, but I'm talking about optimizing lineups. Like Jonathan's pointed out, Harden has the credentials as a first ballot Hall of Famer, and Zoo has tenure on this Clippers team. KPJ doesn't have that cachet. No, KPJ, the game should not be hinging on whether or not KPJ plays well. It doesn't need to. It does with Harden and Zoo. They are made men. They are made players. You are riding and dying with them. To say that KPJ should be treated the same way as them that's nuts. That's not true. Maybe he gets to that point, but at this point, no. I'm sorry. Playing the entire fourth quarter, I think, is reasonable to criticize, given his track record as a Clipper and as an NBA player. It's just, yeah, I can't explain to some people. They don't want to listen.
With just to close of the game, you guys came out that ATO and got Norm and then won. Had the lead. What did you feel kind of broke down on the plays where Ant got his 3 and I think Jaden got his 3 in the corner there?
I mean, no breakdowns, just big shots, by them. And we were right there. Ant's capable of making.
Yeah, like defensively, those were big, tough threes they made. They weren't just wide open threes at all.
Those shots, we know that. We had a late fire to try to get to him. He made a couple tough.
People were wondering about a double team coming to Ant. We had a late fire to get to him.
Threes, on top of the defense. And McDaniels just, we were right there too again, in the corner. Right there, he raised, we contested, and he made a big shot as well.
No,
McDaniels.
You said before the game, you were concerned a little bit about just the second unit offense, just getting enough points out of that group. How do you assess how that group played?
I got to go back and look at it. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel like Kawhi came out of this one?
I mean, he feels good. Like I said, Sergio just got to get his rhythm, his timing, and then.
F everything else. Kawhi feels good. F everything else. We're playing that again.
Yeah, Sergio just got to get his rhythm, his timing. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel like Kawhi came out of this one?
I mean, he feels good. Like I said, Sergio just got to get his rhythm, his timing.
How do you feel like Kawhi came out of this one?
I mean, he feels good. Like I said, Sergio just got to get his rhythm, his timing.
That's more important than anything we've talked about tonight.
And then defensively, just with our coverages and everything, just locking into that. But I mean, just having him on the floor, like I said, is huge for us. And we just got to keep getting them reps, keep getting them minutes, keep stacking them up, keep getting them games, and he'll get back to Kawhi.
What do you attribute the struggle?
Yeah, I agree with Jonathan. The dagger shot with 34 seconds left. The double was coming. KPJ's defense was good anyways. Tip of the cap. Great shot, Ant.
To close some of these quarters with. We saw that even Saturday night. Like even though y'all were up the majority of that game, first quarter, I think.
This is a great question by Law. We saw that Saturday night not closing out quarters, and it happened again, not closing out the second quarter the right way. They didn't close out the first quarter the right way against Atlanta, where they let them get on a 14-0 run.
Hawks ended on a 14-0 run, second quarter 7-0 run. You saw the second quarter ended tonight. And like, what do you attribute that to?
Our rotations, just trying to figure out the right rotations with Kawhi being back, with the minutes and everything. Just trying to find the right rotations and
that's another thing. You probably give Coach Lue a little bit of grace. It's not easy to juggle Kawhi being back but only playing 20 minutes, Man being back after missing a month. Just, for those who are being so critical of Coach Lue, and I wouldn't have played KPJ the entire fourth quarter either. Let's understand that they just got a bunch of guys healthy, and one of them is still on a minutes restriction.
Who plays well with who, how we can close quarters and be better with that. And so that's the biggest thing right now.
How much of that adjustment is also, trying to get the shot distribution right? Like Zoo was really good, but he only got 10 shots up. I think normally he had 4 shots.
Ooh, I like it, Law. Ooh, Zoo only got 10 shots up. Something I was talking about. Let's go.
In the first half, how are you assessing and evaluating that right now?
The game dictates that. I don't dictate that. The game dictates. If you're playing the right way, getting to the paint, making the right plays, then the game dictates who gets the shots. Like we don't come out saying, "Oh, you're gonna get 12. You're gonna get just play the game," and that could be our problem. Just play the game.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about tonight?
No, I don't.
All right. Thank you.
The game dictates it. Just play the game. Be more instinctual out there instead of forcing it. Certain guys getting certain shots. I'll just say this. They forgot about Zoo in that third quarter. He gets 2 buckets. They try 5 straight threes that all miss. Sure, if a couple of them hit, I'm probably not bringing this up. That's fair. But I said, regardless, it wasn't good process to me. You have a guy with an advantage. He has been good. Use him. Use him. Yeah. There was Coach Lue postgame. Do we have any other postgame audio? I know Law Murray had a conversation with James Harden. I'll bring this to you here. So I'll just give you the quotes. There we go. Does he not have it up now? Want something get deleted? Damn, Kings are 5-1 with Doug Christie. That's my guy, DC. I thought he had something interesting here. Oh, James Harden on Clippers losing double-digit leads to start January. Because what? They were up 14 against OKC. And they didn't even have James Harden in that game. It was a great first half, but you could tell, again, what were they up by at the half? 2 after they led by 14? So this is kind of a trend right now where they have been giving up some leads. James Harden talking about that. He said, quote, part of basketball, just find ways to be better. James Harden on Kawhi Leonard coming back. Quote, giving him time to work his way in. He looked good, so just give him time. There you go. I think we're good now. Jonathan Ing said, I think the coaching staff can emphasize getting Zoo involved more. That's what's funny. They've literally said we got to get him more touches. They talk about players getting more touches. So Coach Lue here is also saying like, I'll just play within the flow of the game. We're not saying this guy gets, I guess he's saying it doesn't mean you get the exact amount of shots or a certain amount of shots. It's just in general, more touches. There's, some slight difference there. Ray said desperation threes are not a great look. Wish they could have attacked the paint more during that and stopped the bleeding. Yeah, that's the problem. Like Minnesota's making their run and the Clippers are just trying to put up, save us 3-point line. Just let us get hot from 3 here instead of doing the tougher work to hold on to this lead. Instead of going through the real process of drive, kick, swing. Just maybe we get away with it and hold on to the lead or get back in it just by hoisting. Jonathan said, don't know how Zoo keeps being an afterthought. Man, you know you're preaching to the choir. Old Jerry Dasher said KPJ needs to go. He's bad. Again, there was good and bad. Rock said they're playing better teams, don't have their best player fully. I agree. But tonight, being up 19, they didn't lose this game because they didn't have Kawhi Leonard playing fully. I don't buy that. This game was winnable with Kawhi Leonard on the minutes restriction. They play the right way. They go through their actions and reads and don't just give in to, I think, some hope and a prayer threes. They might have won the game. There are better things they can do, even with Kawhi Leonard not playing an entire fourth quarter to help them win. They can't control that. They can't control getting Ivica Zubac the basketball against Rudy Gobert, wearing him out. They can control that. Kawhi's not out there. Feed Zoo. I don't know. This game was very winnable. Very winnable. And they lost it like 3 different times. Up 19, third quarter with 3-point shooting instead of going to Zoo. Fourth quarter, up by 5, 4 minutes left. Some bad shots, some bad turnovers. And I'm up 4 minutes left. I'm probably bringing in Chris Dunn for Ant. The guy that is cooking you, and you have Chris Dunn. I think Carlo gave a stat earlier that, like, does anybody have the head-to-head Sport VU camera matchup data when it comes to specifically Ant versus Chris Dunn? If anybody puts that in the comments section later, Ant in his career matchup data against Chris Dunn. Put that in the comments section. I'll give you an Into a Dome pin because I'm pretty sure Chris Dunn has done a number on Ant in his career with his defense. I'm pretty sure that's facts. I just told you, Yawning Tears. 4-minute mark, you're up 5. I'm taking out KPJ. He still played the first 8 minutes of the fourth. I'm putting in Chris Dunn. Boom. Did I answer your question? I think so. You still have a ball handler. You still have a guy that hustles for boards. And you have your best perimeter defender against Ant. That's what I'm doing. I'm not blaming Coach Lue or saying it was this huge gaffe or huge mistake. I'm going to show a little bit of grace. And a little bit of sympathy for a coaching staff that is having to figure out minutes right now when they just got a bunch of guys back. And there's not zero logic to keeping KPJ out there. But yeah, I'm going Chris Dunn. Up 5, 4 minutes left. After DJ was just at the free throw line. Because that's a game where if you say, well, Chris Dunn offensively hurt you so much. Chris Dunn, overall, his defense has easily made up for his lack of offense. And I want him against Ant down the stretch. So there's your answer. That's what I would have done. Appreciate you guys. This has been Clippers Talk After Dark. I'm Adam Moslin. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We might have a special guest on. Could get interesting.